Just before we begin, I was wondering if we could give our appreciation to the STFYD committee, chaired by me. They've done a fantastic job with it. I mean, the place looks incredible, the food is very tasty, and everyone looks so fancy. I mean, in particular, the staff look amazing, don't they? Prof. Sam, you look great. Sohag, you look great. James Moss, thanks for coming. I also was told just to make sure that everyone can hear me, so we're going to do a little bit of a crowd interaction bit. There's no microphone with a box in it, don't worry. But what we're going to do is we're going to split you in the middle. So I'm looking at that table. And this side, you're going to be IC. Nobody wants to be IC, that's why I do it. Yeah? No. And this side, you're going to be SM. And what we're going to do is we're going to go IC, SM. And your job is to outdo the other side. Okay? Alright, so on the count of 3, we're going to start with IC. 1, 2, 3. People celebrating Ramadan haven't slipped into a food coma, so we're all good and everyone can hear me. So let's begin with the speech. And I'll be honest, I was quite nervous to do the speech, so I looked up advice online on how best to conquer the nerves, and I got hit with the classic advice: just picture everyone naked, which is great advice for the nerves, but I've got a really weird image of Martin Lupton in my head. But we won't let that get in the way. And I'll be honest, so I was asking some of my friends about things that sort of resonate with everyone. And something that came across was this idea that everyone's been through some sort of change over medical school. And I thought, I've done that, I've been through change, I can relate to that. And so I thought I'd talk about that if that was alright. And obviously to do that we had to start right at the beginning. And now first and second year are a bit of a blur for me. But there was one thing that stuck in my mind throughout the whole time, and it was something we actually learned in a lecture hall. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we were visited by the student union in one of the first weeks. And they came in and they gave a sort of wholesome talk. But towards the end it sort of got a bit weird, and they kept repeating this one phrase and getting us to chant it back to them. Do you guys remember the phrase? Don't accept a police caution. Now as a fresher, I was terrified. I was like, what the hell have I got myself into? I mean, I'd read the Daily Mail, but I thought maybe they're right. They're a bunch of savages. And what I took from that talk was don't tell lies, which is always all good for us, but when Amir Sam says that only the hip, knee and hand exam's going to come on, don't even get me started on the balls and the ankle. Now, first and second year I didn't really like that much. My favourite year was third year. Now third year was the year that we got let loose onto the wards, and I was so ready to examine patients. I wanted to do so much more than just get shouted at by angry Scottish lecturers. And my first hospital placement was in Charing Cross, doing respiratory medicine. And I'll be honest, at this point my clinical skills, they're a bit subpar. But it's funny because my final senior medicine placement in final year was respiratory medicine again. Senior medicine, which we all thought might be geriatrics, and senior surgery was surgery on old people. And I thought, this is where I redeem myself. And so I go to the F1 on the ward and I say, give me your toughest patient. And she said, okay, but just before that, can I give you a heads up? And I said, no, I don't need it. And so I go to the patient, I introduce myself. And I remember in third year, there were a lot of things that I sort of wasn't good at. I wasn't good at, the awkward chat in between. I forgot little things like checking the legs for swelling. And so I thought, I'm not going to do that this time. At this point, I'd seen the geeky medics crew more than my own family. So I was pretty ready. And Prof. Sam, you should have seen me. I was slick. I did all the steps. I checked for danger. Not a normal part of a RESP exam. I was in Northwick Park, so And I remember I went through all the steps, and I'd even mastered the awkward chat in between. Sorry, my stethoscope's a bit cold. Would you mind just saying 99 for me? It's a bit weird. And then I remember I did all the steps, and it was in my head. Always forget pedal edema. Not this time. I remember saying to the patient, I'm just going to have a feel of your legs. And the patient had a blanket on, so he didn't want to be disturbed. He said, no, don't worry about it. And I said, no. I'm a thorough man. This one's for me. I give my firm's partner the nod to let her know she's not watching an amateur here at work. And I said to the patient, I'm just going to take your blanket off. I took the blanket off, and the patient had no legs. Now, I'd seen a lot of geeky medics at this point. I don't think Andrew ever encountered this scenario. I didn't know what to do, to be honest. I was stumped. Back to the F1 and presenting it, and she said, oh, did you make sure to do a full head-to-toe assessment? And then she started laughing at me, so I think that probably ends my career in respiratory medicine. Not respiratory medicine, what do they call them these days? They call them a chest physician. I wish the person that named that specialty named every specialty. We'd end up calling the urologists the cock docs. I really like names of medicine, I think they're really funny. And I don't know what it is, but medics love an acronym. They absolutely go crazy for it. And there's some really good acronyms. Things like the classic, get smashed. It's good, you know, it's classic and you can remember it. I mean, I say that, but when you're in a pacer station, they ask for the cause of the pancreatitis. The only one that comes to your head is scorpions, which obviously isn't causing Doris's pancreatitis, which he drinks 2 litres of vodka a day, but you say anyway. But I think that's an example of a really good acronym. I think some really bad acronyms in medicine as well. For example, the A to E approach for emergency scenarios. A, airway, great. B, breathing, yeah. C, circulation, yeah, I get that. D, disability, a bit more rogue, but it makes sense. E, everything else. Doesn't really help me when I don't know what everything else is, which is called the E approach for emergencies. And I also learned that some acronyms are also scoring systems, and they're also named after people. So things like the APGAR score, named after Virginia Apgar, who Helgi will know as an anaesthetist. But unfortunately, I'm a very naive medical student, so I thought all scoring systems were named after people. So for the longest time, I thought there was just a guy called Chad Vask 2 walking around. I think it's funny as well because names in medicine are always changing as well. I'll give you an example. I was in Chell West a few weeks ago, and I'm on the ward and I see this young ear who looks a bit lost. You know, it's got an iPad in hand, all the doctors are ignoring him. And I say, hello, my name's Sikandar, one of the family is. What's your name? He says, my name's Adam. And I say, hi Adam, what year are you in? He goes, oh, I'm in phase 1C. What does that mean, Adam? And he said, oh, you know, you start in phase 1, you progress to phase 2, then phase 3, and then you can leave. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I thought it was some weird cult thing. I just did what everyone else was doing and ignored him. 30 was also the year where there was this huge pandemic, where people were going out, maybe spreading when they shouldn't have, and they were genuinely afraid of their friends. And I'm not talking about the COVID pandemic, I'm talking about the mumps pandemic. It's always the football boys, isn't it? I don't know why you're cheering, but why not? And for a lot of us, it was also the year where there were lots of Teams calls, Zoom calls, and mental breakdowns in your childhood bedroom. And it led to the BSc year. Now, I did the Surgical Technology and Innovation BSc. Thank you. Or as our cohort likes to call it, the STI. Shout out to my STI crew over there. Now, there are a lot of bad things about my BSc. The contact hours were long, the marking was a bit strict, it wasn't fun where you get first just writing your name on the paper. And I've seen Chris, John and so can help you write your name on the paper as well. What made it genuinely worth it was you get these experts coming up to you talking about the latest technology they use in their operations. The only thing is it kind of ruins my faith in them when one minute they're talking about this incredibly complex technology, and the next minute they end the whole call trying to share their screen. Doesn't really fill me with too much faith. But what I think sticks in our mind about fourth year was when UKFPO announced that the foundation program wouldn't count towards our rankings. Little did we know, the first in many shaftings by the UKFPO. I remember a lot of us were thinking the same thing. Is my BSc worthless? Have I just wasted a year of my life? Although if you did remote med, that didn't really affect you because it wasted your year anyway. James Moss, I know you're one of the lecturers for remote med, but space medicine, come on, grow up. And for a lot of us as well, there was this great grand celebration at the end at the Royal Albert Hall. Parents weren't invited, but judging by the way some of their kids turned out, it's probably a good thing. And also it's probably, for a lot of us, the only graduation we'll attend. Thank you to NHS Rotas. And then obviously came fifth year. And I think fifth year is where I learned about my pecking order in the hospital. I'd heard time and time again that the medical students on the same level as the bin. I learned in fifth year this wasn't necessarily true. I was in the operating theatres, and I learned that people loved the bin. They counted how many swabs went in the bin, they signed off on anaesthetic drugs in the bin. The bin had real purpose. I just stood there, asked for docs, and broke a sterile field. And I think final year is where it became real that we were getting to the stage where we were becoming doctors. And I started feeling emotional. This place that I'd hated on for 5 years, I started becoming attached to, started defending it. Now I'm pretty sure this is exactly what Stockholm Syndrome is, and I'm being held hostage. But it was true. I started defending this medical school. And the truth is, Imperial gets a lot of hate, in particular from the other London medical schools. And the thing is, I've been to these UH events, I hear what they say about us. They call us the Slytherin of medical schools. They say we don't know how to socialise. They say we use the word menial a bit too loosely. Don't look at me like that, I didn't say it. But I think what annoys you the most is when people say people from Imperial don't make good F1s. Because truth be told, in a few months' time when you're on call and there's an acutely unwell patient in front of you, it's a scary thought first of all, but when they're deteriorating in front of you, maybe a doctor from Barts would know what fluids to prescribe. Maybe a doctor from UCL would know what antibiotics are needed. And maybe a doctor from St. George's... Actually, I'm not really sure what doctor from St. George's But because you went to Imperial, only you guys will know what the third line treatment is for a pheochromocytoma. I won't miss PBL. Rest in peace, Matupo, but we didn't need to. I won't miss the year group chat. You know, the one on WhatsApp that people got maybe a bit too comfortable sharing their political opinions on. And I won't miss the competitiveness that comes with Imperial. And it makes sense, you're all the best and the brightest. But people stake each other for everything in medicine here. People stake each other for prizes, publications. People even stake their friends for ICSM colours. You know, and I told myself I'd do a bit of a nice bit at the end. It wasn't just going to be me roasting James Moss for 15 minutes. Although I was tempted. And I want to say thank you to everyone that got us to where we are. And so I want to say thank you to the incredibly busy head of medical school who sacrificed mornings, evenings and afternoons to help us prepare for clinical exams. I didn't do that, I was talking about Prof. Sam, but thank you. I want to say thank you to every single doctor, lecturer and teacher that helped us prepare and shape us as the medics we are. I was originally going to say thank you to Prof. Mirren for giving us an exclusive SJT masterclass, but then I realised that's not exactly true, is it? I don't know what hurt me more, finding out that he gave that talk to UCL, or finding out that Dr. Wing Mei Kong is an endocrinologist. Another endocrinologist. I don't know what I thought she was in my head. I thought she was some sort of like ethics consultant that was constantly dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses and doctors making OnlyFans. For the older members of the audience that are confused about what OnlyFans is, please don't Google it. It's a difficult one to explain on such history. I also want to say thank you to the family and friends that supported us the whole way through, because we all know that we wouldn't be here without them. I want to say thank you to the cringy medic YouTubers and TikTokers for reminding me that life could always be worse. But above all, I want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you to you guys for making firms bearable, for sharing your resources and genuinely making these 6 years feel like they've flown by. Because whatever your reason was for doing medicine in the first place, whether it was fulfilling your parents' dreams more than your own, or you genuinely enjoy lifelong learning and want to do exams until your late 30s, but whatever your reason was at the start, you need a pretty good reason to stay, despite all the controversy, the long working hours, the fact that we earn less per hour than a prep barista. Who knows, maybe with pay restoration we'll earn the same as a Starbucks barista. I think the real reason we stay is because of the people that we meet and work with on a daily basis that remind us that this is why we do what we do. And so I ask whatever you decide to do in life, whether you become a doctor, whether you decide not to work, or whether you do industry and do consulting, whatever that means, you don't forget where you've come from. Because truth be told, you don't remember the doctor with the most publications, or what decile they were in. You remember the ones that treat you like genuine human beings. The ones that remember that they were once a medical student as well. And whether you like it or not, you guys are the future of medicine. And whether that's a good thing or not is yet to be determined, but you are the future of medicine. And so I want you all to, if you see someone struggling, please help them. Just remember that you were once in that position too. I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I wish you all the best in your careers. And if I'm the person you see struggling on the wards, please help me with a flu prescription. I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you very much.